Besides hair care tips, one of the questions I answer most often is that ride worth the wait? Hi, I'm James from Guide to WDW, and today the answer to that question is no. Nothing can quite put your fun on pause at Disney World than waiting too long for a ride that was just okay. The parks are full of rides that are mind-blowing and worth long waits, but you won't find any of those rides on this list. These are the rides that, as someone who goes to the parks a lot, I've learned to avoid or only go on if they have a really short wait. Now, this isn't a list of bad rides, although there are some stinkers here. Hey, spoilers! But there are some good rides that I do like that just have waits that are usually too long, and they aren't worth it. In fact, there are some incredibly popular rides on this list, so it might be a bit controversial, but just remember that this is all my opinion, so it is scientifically accurate and objectively correct. I've ranked the rides in each park, and I'll be counting them down from maybe not worth it to my biggest skips. So you won't have to wait too long to get to the good stuff. Let's dive in. Let's start at Magic Kingdom, where I've picked 5 rides that aren't worth the wait. And 7-year-old me would be so disappointed in 37-year-old me right now, because number 5 on this list is Tomorrowland Speedway. I used to love this ride as a kid. And if you have kids, this might be worth the wait because they'll love a chance to drive a car around a track. And it's actually on the lower end of average wait times at Magic Kingdom. But unlike many other Disney World attractions, this ride doesn't give me any warm feelings of nostalgia. I live in Atlanta, so I have enough experience driving at a frustratingly slow pace around drivers who have no idea what they're doing. Plus, the track is a sea of asphalt, resulting in some pretty boring views. It doesn't have the charm that Autopia has at Disneyland. Avoid the gasoline fumes and skip this ride. Let's go to my next pick, which I'm going to guess will be pretty controversial because even I don't want to pick it. But if I'm being really honest, Space Mountain isn't worth the wait. Look, before you take away my Disney fan card, first of all, you can't. I paid Disney a lot of money for that. And secondly, I love Space Mountain. The building, the line, the music. Magic Kingdom Space Mountain is the original version. And it really shows its age. I made a ranking of all the Disney World roller coasters on Guide to WDW.com, and I was really shocked when I realized that Space Mountain was my second least favorite roller coaster in all the parks. It just pales in comparison to other more thrilling coasters, and both Tron and Guardians of the Galaxy deliver a new and more thrilling take on the Space Mountain formula. There's a reason why Tokyo Disneyland is tearing their Space Mountain down and building a new version. Now, this doesn't mean that I skip Space Mountain. I just don't think it's worth the average wait time of 57 minutes, which actually makes it the 3rd longest wait time at Magic Kingdom. This is a lightning lane or bust for me. But sometimes a ride not being worth the wait has nothing to do with how long the line is. Sometimes it's just because you don't like that type of ride. And for me, that's the case with Mad Tea Party. I just don't like spinning rides, and that's all there is to Mad Tea Party. With an average wait time of 14 minutes, it has one of the shorter waits at Magic Kingdom, but I don't care if it's a walk-on. Wouldn't it be worth the 30 seconds it took to get in the vehicle and out? I'm not going to have fun no matter what. Now, the teacups are iconic, so you might feel differently if you can handle spinning, but to me, there's not enough to this ride other than nausea. That's a pretty personal take, but I think the next ride just stinks no matter who you are. It's in a terrible spot, it doesn't do anything special, and it feels extremely unnecessary, especially in Magic Kingdom. Of course, I'm talking about the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, which was the 3rd aerial spinner added to Magic Kingdom when it opened in 2001. There's already Dumbo, which is way more iconic and has 2 carousels, and Astro Orbiter, which has really cool views above Tomorrowland. Magic Carpets is placed really awkwardly in the middle of a walkway in Adventureland, and an Aladdin Magic Carpet ride shouldn't be this lame. The whole thing feels like a spit in the face from one of those camels standing outside the attraction, who have actually spit me in the face. Don't get me started on those guys. But the number 1 ride that isn't worth the wait in Magic Kingdom is one of the most popular rides in the park that's been providing magical movie moments since 1971. I'm talking about Peter Pan's Flight, which had the 2nd longest average wait last year in Magic Kingdom at 73 minutes. That's a really long average wait time for a ride that's just 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, why isn't Tron on this list? That ride is even shorter. The thrill of the launch, the feeling of speed, and the awesome visuals make up for Tron being a bit on the short side. Like Space Mountain, Peter Pan is showing its age, and could use a visual refresh like they did at Disneyland a few years ago with projection mapping. Plus, the brakes at the end of the ride somehow always slam my knees, even though I know it's coming. This ride just isn't worth the wait. Let's park hop over to EPCOT, where we have 3 rides that aren't worth the wait. Number 3 is Frozen Ever After, which is kind of a marginal call. I actually think that this is a good ride, and there are some really fun scenes. But it had the 6th longest wait at Disney World last year at 74 minutes, and those projected faces seem to malfunction quite a bit. If Disney ever gets around to upgrading the animatronics to be the kind that they have in Hong Kong, then Frozen Ever After will probably be worth the wait, and I'll let it go off this list. The next ride is another personal pick. Number 2, Mission Space Orange. Like Mad Tea Party, rather than a long wait time, this boils down to me personally getting motion sickness on this ride. But that seems to be a pretty widespread issue on this very intense attraction. I posted this video last year and it resonated with a lot of y'all.
Oh my god, I almost died! No. I almost died, that was so scary, thank you.
It's alright.
This ride is no joke and can make you really sick, which can derail an entire day of your vacation. Many people have also reported motion sickness issues with Guardians of the Galaxy, and while I personally haven't experienced that, it's worth keeping in mind. But Guardians is a much better ride than Mission Space. I have a whole motion sickness guide on guide2wdw.com that breaks down the different issues you may encounter on Disney rides in each park. Now, Epcot's number 1 not worth the wait attraction is almost always a walk-on. And it's not on this list because of motion sickness or poor quality, but because Disney Plus exists. Disney Pixar Short Film Festival. Now yes, this is a chance to see some great animated shorts in 3D on a big screen. That's cool. But a lot of these shorts can be found on Disney's streaming service and online elsewhere. Disney World tickets are really expensive, and there are a ton of unique attractions and activities. Taking even 20 to 30 minutes out of your day to do something that you can do a similar version of at home whenever you like just doesn't seem like a great use of your valuable vacation time. If you need an air-conditioned break and you're nearby, sure, but don't seek this out. In Disney, update this attraction already so it's actually worth using a lightning lane on. Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom have less attractions, so there are less rides that aren't worth the wait at those 2 parks. But before I get into those parks, I want to make a blanket statement about character meet and greets. These may not be worth the wait depending on your priorities. A lot of meet and greets have a 30 to 40 minute wait time, which is a good chunk of your day. If you have young kids, it can be super fun to see them meet their favorite character, and any wait will feel worth it. But if you're adults or have teens or you just aren't a fan of that character, it may not be your thing. And that's okay. But if it is your thing, that's also okay. My point is, don't feel like you need to do these types of attractions if that's not what your party is into. There's so much to do at Disney World, pick what's fun for you. Alright, at Hollywood Studios, we have only 2 rides that aren't worth the wait. Number 2 is Alien Swirling Saucers, which is a charming flat ride. The ride vehicles are super fun, and the swinging from side to side is actually a blast. As a side note, I totally can't do the teacups, but this ride doesn't invoke the same spinning motion sickness that I have. So what's the problem? Last year, this ride had an average wait time of 37 minutes, and I've seen this wait get well over an hour. To me, this is a 15-minute max ride. Fun, but not worth any wait longer than that. This should be the type of ride that's just a short wait to help fill out the day, like Mater's Junkyard Jamboree at California Adventure. That's the same exact ride with a different theme, and it had half the wait time at DCA than it did at Hollywood Studios. The fact that this line is so long is a symptom of a big problem that Disney World has right now. I'm working on a video about that very thing, so be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss it. Now, the number 1 ride that isn't worth the wait at Hollywood Studios is another ride that many families don't want to miss on their vacation. It's extremely popular, and I actually really like it. So it pains me to say that Slinky Dog Dash isn't worth the wait. This coaster really punches above its weight. When they announced Toy Story Land, I didn't expect that Slinky would be as fun as it is, but it is an awesome ride with 2 launches, really fun visuals, and a ride that threads that needle between being approachable for kids and still pretty thrilling for adults. So why isn't it worth the wait? The way I'm talking about it, I kind of want to book a trip to Orlando and go ride it right now. Well, last year, Slinky Dog Dash had an average wait time of 96 minutes. That's 4 minutes longer than the runtime of Toy Story 2, and it was the second longest wait of any ride at Disney World. Any ride, just between Rise of the Resistance and Flight of Passage. I mentioned those two other rides because they are true next-generation theme park rides. Rise of the Resistance is 4 attractions all mashed together on a scale we've never seen before. Avatar features the best 3D visuals I've ever seen, and it's somehow thrilling and moving at the same time. Slinky Dog is a really good family roller coaster, but it is a D ticket through and through. It's just not on the same level of those other attractions, or any of the other attractions in the top 5 wait times at Disney World. So sadly, it's just not worth the wait. Finally, at Animal Kingdom, there's only one ride that isn't worth the wait. It's a ride that I should love and want to love, but man, I have a hard time not being disappointed by it. That's Na'vi River Journey. It has some highs. The bioluminescence, that's science speak for glowy stuff, looks really cool and really glowy. The Shaman of Song at the end is Disney's best animatronic. Those things are cool. The idea of a slow-moving boat ride through Pandora that's mostly vibes should be a slam dunk, especially for me. It's living with the fictional land brought to you by Jim Cameron. But the ride is way too short. This should be a 10 or 15-minute relaxing journey in a big boat to increase capacity, but it's a 5-minute jaunt that feels like it ends just as it's getting started. To me, this is a classic ride that's worth it if the line is 15 minutes or less, because there is some cool stuff there, but the actual wait time was a ridiculous 72 minutes last year. Way longer than better Animal Kingdom rides like Kilimanjaro Safaris, Expedition Everest, and Dinosaur. Well, there you have it, the rides that I think aren't worth the wait times at Disney World. Are there any I missed? Was I being unfair to any of the rides that I mentioned? Let me know in the comments. And I don't want to be a complete downer, so I'm also working on a video about the best rides with short waits at Disney World. These short kings and queens can really save a day at Disney, so be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss it. This has been James from Guide to WDW. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you real soon.